David C. Hinkel. When I was on the Spinnax, I was an EN2SS. I had split service, went back in '76, retired as lieutenant commander. It was in 1965. Things were heating up in Vietnam. I was a high school graduate, prime candidate. My dad was a World War II pilot, retired colonel. He wanted me to go in the Air Force, being a little bit, how should I say, rebellious. I thought the Navy was so much better, and I liked the uniforms. Plus, I had some buddies that were in the Navy. I say your dad's a colonel. Like Jack was saying, you know how to deal with it, you know what you're getting into, and you do what you're told, and you make the best of it. My dad was George M. Hinkel. He was one of the older guys that was a pilot. He was a pilot at 25. He flew B-17s, B-24s, both theaters. Ended up with a little shrapnel here and there. My dad was an amazing man. He passed away at 96. So he didn't talk too much about the war. He'd usually talk with another pilot, and I had a buddy of mine that was a Navy pilot. And so most of what I picked up was when he's talking pilot to pilot. He was flew out of England, and over in the Pacific Theater, I don't remember, he ended up with malaria, so he got shipped home. I usually didn't talk it up that my dad was a colonel, because I went in and enlisted, and like I said, I just kind of, I was going to do what I was going to do on my own. I wasn't going to ride his shirt tails. Again, I was a little rebellious because I was smarter than he was then, which I learned later was just the inverse. So it was home life. Dad would be off flying. He flew C-124s. His last real command was 19th Logistical Support Squadron out of Kelly Air Force Base. Then he went to be the CO of Osan Air Base in the late 50s. Came back to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. He was up for general. They were going to send him to the Pentagon. He said, "I'm not flying a desk." He said, "I'm not dealing with politicians. I'll retire." And which he did. Good words. So I went down, signed up, went to boot camp in San Diego. Boot camp was indoctrination, and it was interesting to watch the different guys. Most of us were from Texas that went off to this squadron, and some guys had a little hard time. I was a squad leader right off, and it was like, okay, fall in, let's go. Again, having my dad's training about doing stuff, and you learned how to get along together. There was no infighting, there was no backstabbing. It was everybody do what you need to do, follow your instructions, and do the best thing you can. No matter if it's scrubbing your skivvies out on the wash table and using those pieces of string that we had to tie our clothes up with, they better be done just right. So we all helped each other out through that situation, through boot camp. But it was an indoctrination, which was really good for a lot of guys. I applied to become in the engineering division, and I chose Engineman A School in Great Lakes, which is one of the coldest, nastiest places, and I can't believe they still have a base up there. But that was cold, nasty barracks, but we learned basics. Again, I had a pretty good background with machinery and engines, so it was good nuts and bolts. Each system to me was very simple, very logical. We learned everything from the GMC 671 up and down, how they worked, basic principles, which most of it I already knew, but it also was a good learning curve. We were in another section, and we were basically not allowed to go near recruits because we were we were E2s then. We were hot stuff. And you go to Chicago on the train, and just to get out, or Milwaukee. That's where I got my $5 tattoo. And it was fun to go take the train and get out for a while. But A school was really enlightening. And about halfway through, they were looking for volunteers for the submarine. And that was something that I was going, it was an elite group, and I'm going, let's do it. So I volunteered. I was max height for enlisted when I'm 6'2", so that's how I lost my hair, was banging my head on the hatches like Jack did.